OK, so first of all, the poll, this referendum, do you think that this is quite a reflective... do you think it's reflective of what people are actually thinking?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But even for me, there were a few surprises. I mean, we're being constantly told that young people are massively in favour of net zero, and actually, with the excluding of the don't know, the 18 to 24-year-olds has gone from 56% in favour of referendum last year to 78%. 78%. We don't hear that on the MSM, do we, the mainstream media? You'd think they were all super gluing themselves to roads and throwing milk all over Fortnum and Masons, but no, I mean, it's extraordinary. And it's 58% overall last year, 62% this year. This is definitely indicative. I mean, you and I know that black cab drivers are the main indicator of this kind of stuff. And every single time I get in a black cab, they're telling me that they think it's all a load of old nonsense. And people are really, really angry. But interestingly enough, the capital has gone up. London, 51% to 61%. Scotland, 54% to 72%. People are annoyed, they don't feel they've been consulted, and they want to have a say. This is much bigger than Brexit, even.
Well, I think it is. And I think what it is because it feels like the science, in some ways, is somewhat dubious. I mean, like, if you want to have a referendum, and as we learned from Brexit, that they didn't give us all the details, but then nobody really knew.
No.
On this one, again, nobody really knows, but we could get some detail. I'd like people to start talking about this whole carbon issue, and I'd like to hear both sides of the debate, instead of what was happening previously, which where we had to follow one particular narrative. You couldn't question it.
Oh, no, you couldn't, because then you are a denier, which I think is an extremely insulting word to use for lots and lots of reasons. But at CAR26, the thing we'd be most excited about in terms of having a referendum, or even a debate about having a referendum, is having debate. The BBC have got a policy to never, ever discuss anything to do with climate change that doesn't have the premise completely 100% that it's caused by man and is man-made. Well, that's disgusting.
Well, like I say, I did actually used to work for the BBC, and I can tell you that you're pretty close to the mark.
Okay.
You weren't really supposed to...
But they'd have to if there's a referendum,
the actual premise of it. No, you couldn't really do that. I'm well aware, because I worked there, so I know.
Right, oh, OK, so thank you for confirming that.
You couldn't really question the premise of it. You could talk about it, though, but you know, I was always very wary of mentioning that I wasn't, fully on board with it,
Well, MPs really need to sit up and take notice of this, especially the Labour support, 53% last year, gone up to 66% this year. Lib Dems, as you said, gone up. Tories, funnily enough, have gone down very, very slightly. They've got a little bit greener, I don't know, or maybe, somebody's got some subsidies and it's changed their view.
But what we're calling conservative these days isn't conservative.
No,
anyway.
where is the Conservative Party? But as I say, I do think this will be bigger than Brexit, because I think that 70%, once it's been... I think the figure will be about 70% who actually want to vote against net zero policies in the referendum, once it's actually been debated properly. I really, really do. And these figures are much higher than Brexit ever was. I'm quite excited and encouraged by this, but, are the MPs going to take notice? There is only one political party, I think, at the moment that is anti-net zero, and that's Richard Tice's Reform Party. And, they don't, at this present point in time, have any seats in Parliament. Could this help them? Or will the other parties suddenly sit up and take notice?
Well, no.